Welcome to the Living Superhuman Fitness Podcast, where we take you inside our gym, CrossFit Palm Beach, each week. It's here that we are creating new superhumans every day, transforming people's lives, helping them reach a level of health they never knew possible. We strive to answer your most burning questions on fitness, health, nutrition, training, motivation, mindset, lifestyle, and more. If you have a question, please email us at info@crossfitpalmbeach.com. You can also learn more on our blog, livingsuperhuman.com. And if you have a moment, we'd love a review from you on iTunes. All right, it's time. Let's stop being average and start living superhuman. All right, guys, welcome to the Living Superhuman Fitness Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to survive and excel in your first year of CrossFit. And we're going to be breaking down really everything you can expect in that first year. And we have some key timelines from the very first day to that first month, the first 30 to 90 days, first 3 to 6 months, and then that 6 months to 1 year mark, and what kind of challenges you can expect to face, what things you should maybe be focusing on and trying to improve during those timelines, and just kind of break down each part and really help you set yourself up for success if you're just brand new to CrossFit, or maybe you're someone who's in that first year and you're finding yourself in one of these key timelines that we're going to talk about. So let's start from day one. What the heck is that first day going to be like when you step in the doors? What can you expect on day one?
Well, in our gym, it's a free intro. So hopefully it's not a class, because if it is a real class and you're getting thrown into the fire, then it's very tough. It's a lot easier to be one-on-one with the coach, kind of sit off to the side, watch what's going on in the class, but get to do your own thing with the coach. That's what we like to put people through the first time. That's not always the case around different CrossFit gyms.
Yeah, and we always try to meet people on their level. That's really one of the major reasons we have the intro one-on-one is we have the same workout for everyone. It's a 10-minute workout. It has some warm-up and stuff in addition to that, but we tailor the intensity of that 10-minute workout based on our conversation with that person. If they're currently working out, if they were a former athlete, or if they're not doing anything at all, we're gonna make that 10 minutes. We're gonna challenge them very differently based on that. We do see every once in a while someone throws up the first day, but that's not our goal. Generally, if you're going to throw up from workout, it's going to happen in one of those first 2 days. They'll just be up front, and that's really the case. If it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen in one of those 2 days. So if you can make it through one of those first 2 days, you're usually good. You can keep your breakfast. But what I would say is that first day is go out slower than you think. Is do that workout a little bit more at your pace. Even if you overpace it, it's still going to be hard. Your coach who's with you is still going to challenge you enough so that you're going to feel what CrossFit feels like, but don't overdo it. You don't have to set any records the first day.
It's definitely going to be a challenge. I actually did an intro this morning, and they're coming from just a conventional gym atmosphere, and when you come from that atmosphere, you're probably not pushing yourself pretty hard or doing any sort of high intensity workout, whatever it may be. And so CrossFit is a very different program, and you're gonna feel different when you do your workout. You're not gonna be doing one movement and then talking to your friend and then getting some water. You're gonna be going from one movement to the next in a continuous fashion, and it's gonna be a lot different than what you probably expect or what you're probably expecting to feel like. So kind of accept the fact that it's gonna be different, it's gonna be challenging, but it's also gonna be feasible for you. And it's going to be feasible for each one of us at different athletic backgrounds.
I remember my first CrossFit workout. I don't remember what it was, but I remember that I was coming from, I'd never done a workout before. I'd done practice. So I came from this background of going to practice all the time and training, but I didn't understand this idea of working out. I didn't understand it working out for a competition. I didn't understand it working out for health or fitness. I just was it was so foreign to me. And I remember taking on way more than I should have. And I remember being or having this feeling of like, how do I not know how to move correctly? And then understanding that like those around me kind of knew how people were supposed to move, and that I was used to moving underwater, which is very different, different sport, for 20-something years, and not
I'm
doing...
a mermaid.
Yeah, exactly. I was a mermaid for 26 years.
I'm not built for land.
Yeah, I wasn't built for land. I didn't know what I was doing, and just oh my god, 2 points. And then I was just being able to kind of like let my ego stay outside of that, and being able to look at what I was doing and go, all right, I need to do a lot less, and I need some help. I need some guidance on how exactly to do these things in this building. So
Awesome. So that kind of gets us through the first day. You really just got to survive that first day. You just got to get through it. After that, I see the next key timeline is really that first month. And for us, that usually looks like some fundamentals classes, a couple weeks of fundamentals, maybe some personal training to teach you the skills that are involved in CrossFit. Certainly in our CrossFit classes, we have all levels. We have all ability levels, and it's not that you have to have a certain amount of strength, a certain amount of endurance to join the classes, but if there are any movements you don't know, or you have major flexibility issues is another big one that we like to keep people in fundamentals for. Those are things that are gonna limit you in the CrossFit classes, and that's really the goal of the fundamentals, is to teach you that stuff. So what are some challenges? How can we get the most out of that first month of CrossFit and fundamentals?
Well, yeah, we find that even after people get through their fundamentals, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they're still like, okay, now it's time for regular classes, and it's a big deal. It isn't to us because we feel like they're prepared, but a lot of people mentally will say, I'm not ready, or like, will you be there with me on that first day? And it's like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm coaching, or
chaperone.
Like, I'll be, I'll be the one in front of you doing the workout. No, but like that's what I see is like that mental shift. It's just like believing in yourself that you're ready if you've had some classes to get through it, and just being open to learning and getting out of what you want from it.
I can say a couple of things about being new to CrossFit. As far as coming in, and I kind of immediately realized my strengths were a lot of the heavier like squats and things like that. I realized real quick that a lot of the weight stuff came super easy to me, but pull-ups and push-ups and a lot of the gymnastic stuff, still is a challenge to me, a few years in. So being patient, you learn everything little by little, and you feel like you're never going to get there, but you're not going to learn everything in the first month, and you're not going to know how to do everything, and you're not going to get it. So just enjoying what you're good at, and then working at what you need extra help with, and spending extra time on it. So that's definitely one good thing for at least the first month or few months. So
yeah, there's definitely some key realizations that first month, is that everyone's going to have strengths, everyone's going to have weaknesses. You maybe won't have as many strengths as you like, but everyone will have strengths. They really will, and everyone will have stuff that they're weak at. So you can't expect to be good at everything from the beginning. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
When we usually ask our athlete of the month this question of what would the advice be to the person that's just starting CrossFit? And I think 80 or 90% of the people are just stick with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be hard, but just stick with it, because no matter how bad your first month is, and we have some tough stories of going through our first months, but we just went through it, and it gets better. The Kool-Aid starts tasting good, right? You start drinking more of it, coming more, and it just takes some time. It's an acquired taste, for sure.
Patience. You gotta have patience with the things that frustrate you the most.
Yeah, I think if you come into that first month focusing on learning primarily, that's going to be your best bet. Yeah. Realistically, the first month, what makes that so challenging is, especially if you haven't been working out, you come into an environment where you're now working hard. You're putting more time and effort into this area of your life than you ever have before. But that first month does not reward you in the way that it should for the effort you're putting in. And that's one of the biggest realizations you need to have, is that you're going to come in, there's going to be more pain than pleasure. The workouts are going to hurt. You're going to be sore between workouts, and then you're not quite going to see the results yet. Some of you will. Some people get results right off the bat, but usually it takes a few weeks, and right about that 1 month mark, you will start to see some noticeable results. But you got to realize that you got to get through that hump. You got to get through that first transition period that it's more painful than pleasurable at first, but then it gets better as time goes on.
I think something else that kind of surfaces that first month is like the aspect of the community, which to me was really foreign because even though I was on a team, swimming was like a super individual sport, and every day, like, your coach knew how you were feeling. You were tired, you were whatever. It was like you're gonna buckle up and do the work no matter what. And you know, your teammates weren't asking you, oh, how are you doing? What's going on in your life? And then like I would go to the gym and like I'd be like, you know, on the floor after the workout, tired, after I did a bacon sizzle, and like people would come up, what was your score? Oh, how's it going? What's going on with this? How do you like this? And I'd be like, what? They're interested in me? Like, why are you, what? Like, it was so foreign to me, this like aspect of community and this aspect of like caring for each other and knowing, and sharing, like being vulnerable, sharing with other people too. Like that was a big roadblock for me at first, because I was like, I'm fine, I just, whatever, leave me be. And I realized the more I allowed people to contribute to my life and that I could contribute to theirs, like the better I would feel, and the more like addicting that whole process began.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that really sums up that first month really well. And a lot of that coming out of that first month transitions into that next 30 or 90 days, which is really that key period. And for me, this starts a little bit in the first month, but I think there's more motivation in month 1, so people tend to move through that pretty well. But to me, this next period, that 39 days, is really about a habit, is creating the habit of showing up 3 days a week. And the reason I think this period is so important is it's the full 30 to 90 days. You really have to give it 3 months to see what this thing's going to do for you and if you can enjoy it. And I think if you can focus on the habit in this next section, that's going to allow you to give yourself the time to then reassess when you hit day 90.
In that first month, we're trying to set you up for success for the next month or next 2 months, because we're trying to get you on more of like that consistent schedule of like 3 days a week of fundamentals. And then after that, you've already been on a 3 days a week, so we're going to just transfer that over to the CrossFit classes where you're doing a minimum of 3 days, maybe 4 days a week, so that you are consistently hitting the gym and coming in and trying to keep that schedule steady and not drop off, or maybe even going a little bit more sometimes. So we're trying to set you up in that month, but then that second, third month, you're good to go. You've already had your schedule all fixed up and ready to go.
I think one of the big mistakes that we see is trying to bite off too much too soon as well. People see that, oh, I've graduated from fundamentals, I got the movements down, let me go to 5 days a week. These are the results I want to get, I'm super motivated, let me do 5 or 6 days a week. And you see this really high ascension, this steep ascension where they see results really fast, and then they just hit one little roadblock and they drop off. Maybe it's a vacation, maybe it's a small injury or something's bothering them, and they drop off, rather than if they would have taken more of a slower progression and just committed to 3 or 4 days a week, which I think is the magic number starting off until maybe that day 90. They'll actually get just as good of results, but they're going to feel a lot better, and it's not going to be quite as much of a commitment as going that 6 days a week route and trying to be the best right from day one.
I think to give CrossFit as a training program an honest chance in your life, you have to make it to day 90 in a 3 to 4 week or 3 to 4 times a week setting. Like if you have gone, once a week for a month, that's not trying CrossFit. It's just not. Like you have to go 3 to 4 times a week for that 90 days and then decide, is this for me? Am I liking it? Am I in the community? And then go from there.
Yeah, definitely just hopping off of what Andrew was talking about biting off more than you can chew. If you're going 5 days a week or 6 days a week, whatever it is, after you've done your fundamentals, and the next day you just can't sit out of bed, you can't brush your teeth, you can't do anything outside of the gym, that's not the way you should feel for your next month or 90 days. You should be feeling a little bit sore here and there, but you shouldn't be drenched on your bed and just dying. Like, should be somewhat feeling good.
It's still the beginning. You should still be getting your feet wet. You don't want to, like you said, overkill, but you want to come consistent and enjoy it. And then it turns into something. It's not only a habit, but it's just, you wake up every morning, or, I mean, some people work out in the evenings, but I wake up every morning and I'm excited to go to the gym and work out now. It's just part of my daily and weekly routine. And the days that I miss it because I have to go do something else or a doctor's appointment or whatever, it's almost upsetting that I didn't get my morning routine in.
Definitely. I think that really transitions well into the next period. Is the first 30 to 90 days, you're seeing positive results. You've gotten through that first month where you're not seeing much. The 30 to 90 days, you're starting to see results. And then once you hit day 90, I think the results start showing up. That's when, like, the 3 to 6 months mark, you start PRing like crazy. And I think the goal there is to get to where Muggs is saying, is that you want to now start, like, enjoying the process and figuring out a way that you become addicted to the process of showing up and getting that just hit of energy and positivity that's going to feed the rest of your day, and not, maybe take a little bit away from, like, the weight loss results that you're focused on. It's more about the process than it is, like, the outside benefits you might feel or see.
I definitely can say, being a female, and of course the first thing that females want is, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to get toned, I want to get in shape. And I found in the first up to almost 6 months that I just felt so strong, and I've never in my life felt so good and so strong. And I wasn't necessarily, down 3 pant sizes or whatever, but just to have such a feeling of accomplishment and realizing what a strong, woman that I was, it made me feel so good. And then later on, I learned about tweaking diet and things like that to get more of where I wanted to be. But I don't know, I've never felt so good as I did in the first 6 months or so when I felt all of that change.
And you're not just talking, strong like I back squatted so much, but strong like I'm just a stronger person.
Absolutely. Everything. Mentally, physically. It made every aspect of my life better. I sleep better. I'm a morning person now, which I've never been. So a lot of positive changes. But yeah, just feeling like just a strong woman.
It's funny that you bring that up. I see that a lot with people in the 3 to 6 month mark. Is a lot of our people start as 5 or 6 or 7 p.m. people, and then they're the people that said, oh, I'll never do a 6 a.m. class. I'll never do a 5 a.m. class. We have a 5 a.m. class that's packed every day. And sure enough, 3 to 6 months in, they try one out. Their day goes a lot better. They have a little bit more energy, and they stick. And that's why our morning classes are some of our busiest, most consistent classes, because somewhere along the lines, people turn from night people to morning people for that morning workout. That is an excellent point. There's a variable that's throwing off our results. The other thing that can happen in that 3 to 6 month mark is I think it's a good time to start adding some training days. And if you're feeling good at the 3 to 4 day a week, then you can add potentially that 4th or 5th day. I still don't think you're quite ready for the 6 days a week, at least 6 days a week of CrossFit. You can definitely do some stuff that's maybe lower intensity on your own, but I think that's the point that you want to bump it up to that 4 to 5 day a week mark with a rest day mixed in. I don't really recommend 5 days straight unless that just has to be your routine because you can't make it happen on the weekends.
Yeah, and on those 4 or 5 days, like you said, they're spread out throughout the week. On that extra day, it's a great day to come to a Saturday workout. You don't have to just come during the week. On those Saturday workouts, those are probably like the funnest workouts you're going to be doing because you're probably with a partner. You have a lot of people in your class. The energy's high. The music's bumping. It's a great time. So, if you're going to add a day, have Saturday be that day. It's a fun time.
Cool.
And I was just going to say, Muggs touched on it, but that 3 to 6 month mark is where you start seeing the effects outside of the gym. And I think that's what really gets people to stick is wow, my life is so much better at work, at home. And that's why I'm going to stick, because my life is getting better through CrossFit. And it happens usually in that period.
Awesome. So the next period is that 6 month mark. I think that pretty much takes us through the year. You have a lot of the same similarities. I think it shares a lot in common with the 3 to 6 month mark. I think from really from 3 months to a year, you're gonna see a lot of PRs in the gym. You're gonna see a lot of your strength numbers go up. You're gonna see, pull-ups show up for the first time, or chest-to-bar pull-ups if you're someone who's stronger, potentially even muscle-ups show up during that time. So you're gonna see progress. I mean, some people, it feels like every day they show up, there's a new PR during that time. And that can really happen for that first year for a lot of people. I think on the challenges side, though, with that is you can get so caught up in doing better and better each day that you can almost feel superhuman, or you can almost feel like nothing can stop you, and that can lead to injuries. And you're constantly trying to press the issue of PR, that maybe the technique doesn't get the attention that it deserves. You kind of feel like you mastered it the first 3 months, and now you don't have to pay as much attention to it. You get caught up in the results of PRing each day that you kind of lose sight of maybe doing the little things that can give you more long-term progress but prevent the injuries as well.
Or if you're constant with your PRs and then you don't hit a PR and you're hard on yourself, that's not the way it is. Like, you're gonna have some times where you're not gonna get that PR, and that's fine because it's gonna happen again. Just kind of shouting out our last podcast, having that mindset deal right there. But I mean, like Andrew's saying, you'll have the PRs and then you may not, but that's okay. They will come again. There'll be another time.
So we're talking about like the 6
months to a year.
So if you've been doing CrossFit for a year, most likely you've come across the open at some point. If you've done it for a year, you'll have come across the open at some point. It happens every year, right?
Episode 3, check it out.
Check out episode 3.
I could have totally been wrong on that.
4 or 5, I don't know. And actually the week of the open was my very first week of CrossFit ever, in 2013. So.
Did you win the games that year?
Not yet. Growth mindset. But the open is something that's a challenge, and something that I find is really awesome. I actually didn't even want to do the open. My coaches signed me up at the last gym. They were like, "You're doing it. It's your first week. This might be a little bit rough, but like you're gonna try it." And it was so cool because it was something that it put me out of my comfort zone, and then I accomplished something. Which, when you are able to accomplish something outside of your comfort zone, it feels really, really cool. And CrossFit does that all the time. And then once you get to the open, especially your first year, that's kind of like your first test, your first all right, you really have something measurable now. We do workouts in the gym, but there's always an extra added environment whenever the CrossFit Open comes up. So that's just another thing that you get to participate in and grow from. I said this in the podcast, we talked about it, but you pay $20 to sign up. And it's worth it because at the end of the 5 weeks, you're paying $20 to do something that you probably went into thinking you're never going to be able to do this. And so if I could pay $20 every time I thought I could never do something, and then just pay $20 and be able to do it, that'd be freaking rad. So it's just another part of the journey here.
Yeah, I think really before that 6-month mark, like the Open's a doable competition for most, but you probably don't really want to be looking at competitions till you get closer to that year mark. It's just a general rule for most people. It's going to be different for everybody.
Doesn't apply to Whitney though. Superhuman.
Whitney's a little different beast. But the Open's very different, especially now they made it so scalable that I think anybody can participate right from pretty much their first month or two out of fundamentals. One of the things that I think is key in that 6 month to 1 year time frame is just starting to listen to your body each day and starting to become more in tune with the signs your body's telling you. I think you maybe don't understand it quite as much in the first 6 months, but now you have enough data, enough situations to go on for your body to tell you when it's feeling a little bit beat up, or when your body's telling you, hey, maybe I'm sore, I need a day off, or I feel great, I can push it today. I think that's something you can really put a lot of stake in the first 6 months to a year, whereas before that, you're showing up more on a regular schedule and not really factoring that stuff in.
And during that time, you probably have your nutrition dialed in to some degree, and it might be time to switch some things up and try a different route, or if it's paleo or macro or primal or whatever it is, just change it up a little bit. see how you feel. And there's always a good time to change up your nutrition, but that 6 month to 1 year, you probably have a good amount of time experimenting with other foods and stuff like that. So it's a good time to also switch up that nutrition a little bit.
And if you haven't put the effort in the nutrition, you got to do it by that point. You don't want to go more than a year of CrossFit without putting some time and effort into nutrition. And kind of the same deal as the Open, if you're in that 6 month to a 1 year mark, you will have at least seen 1 or 2 of our Superhuman challenges, which would be something that you would definitely want to participate in some way in that time frame.
I'm chiming in right here because I started in April and was having, you know, ups and downs. I was feeling great, PRs and things like that, sleeping better, you know, changes. But I hadn't dialed my nutrition in, and it just so happened that I kind of got to a breaking point where I'm like, I'm doing great in the gym, but like everything else isn't that great. And you guys told me, oh, well, we have our next Superhuman challenge coming up at the beginning of the year. It'd be a great thing to start, you know, 2015 with. And I entered the challenge and learned so much about myself, so much about my nutrition. And I mean, 40 days, and yes, it was a challenge, and I did really well. I ended up being one of the 3 winners, but it changed my mindset on everything after that, as far as nutrition and working out, and not just thinking, oh, well, I can just go to the gym, you know, 4 or 5 days a week and work out, and, you know, I'm going to look like a supermodel. No, it's nutrition. Like, you have to take care of yourself and find the balance. And like you said, it's different for everyone, whether it's macros or paleo, or, you know, you got to kind of figure out what's best for you as an individual.
Yeah, some people come in, the reason I do this, the reason I push myself is so I can eat whatever I want. And that's not the right idea to have.
I kind of thought that way too. I'm like, oh, well, you know, I'm working out so hard now, like it's just going to make such a difference. And no, it doesn't. Like, you have to well-round yourself with everything, and you can't just do what you want outside of the gym and come in and expect every result that you just expect. And you have to work for it.
Yeah. I think something else, I have so much to say about that. I feel like we could go into a whole conversation about it.
It's a woman thing.
I'm just going to glaze over it because I think you nailed it. But another thing that I think is really positive that can happen in the 6 months to year range is you can actually start to, and for some people, maybe even earlier, you can start to use that fitness more outside of the gym. Like, maybe you're going paddleboarding. Maybe you can go on walks at night. Maybe you can go hike around, what is that called? Jonathan Dickinson.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do, you know, host events for your grandchildren and like be outside the entire time. Like, you're gonna get into a place where you're able to really utilize your health and like utilize that fitness in like real time, you know?
Cool. So that's a year, but I think we should just give people a little insight into what kind of happens 1 year beyond. And we'll just kind of lump that into one big category as anything that's beyond that first year. Are there any challenges that we haven't touched on, or anything that we should focus on in that 1 year beyond mark?
I think it just goes back to like the two-way street between gym and life. You know, Whitney just said it, the gym is going to make life better, but if life is just partying, drinking, eating bad, gym is going to hit a plateau and you're probably going to drop. You're just going to get frustrated with the gym because you're not seeing any changes. So it's really got to come from life changes to make the gym better. Gym is going to make life better, and use that two-way street. And also just taking care of your body. I know, like for me, you know, first started with CrossFit, warm-ups were like, I thought I was going to die in every warm-up I did. Now it's like I'm completely focused on my muscles, what needs more attention than other places, and my movement through the warm-up, so that is actually getting me ready for the workout, and I'm not just like dreading the warm-up, dreading, you know, everything else leading up to the workout.
Yeah, I think you want to start to take ownership over your fitness. So first year, you're trusting your coaches, just really blindly trusting what they're offering. I mean, we have great coaches here, so you can do that. You're allowed to do that here. But I see once you hit that 1 year mark, you're really starting to take ownership of the things that are lacking, whether it's, you know, nutrition, what we talked about, maybe it's mobility and previous injuries that you have, and maybe doing some research outside the gym, or going to other coaches that may be beyond what you get in the gym. Still, our coaches here have plenty to offer over 1 year. We are constant students of CrossFit and of fitness in general and nutrition. So we're always learning new things and trying to convey those to the members. But I like to see people take a little bit of ownership themselves in that 1 year plus mark. And then another thing I thought of is workout tracking becomes key, because in the early days, like we mentioned, you are getting more PRs, and even if you forget what your previous PR is, you know this next one was better than the last one, so you're still pumped about it. But the PRs get a little fewer and far between, but they get smaller. So what was a 15-pound PR is now a 2.5-pound PR, a 5-pound PR. And if you're not tracking, you tend to forget where you came from. And it's really important to have that data to go back to and say, yeah, I did do better because I thought I did 150 last time, but it was really 140. And now I got 155 today and it was better. Like, it was clearly better. So if you don't have the data to revisit, that usually throws people off in that 1 year plus range.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, and I also really agree with the body awareness. I remember I was standing a certain way in a class, and the coach pointed out to me, and he's like, "Hey, make better life choices." And I didn't understand what he was talking about, because I was standing like with my hip out, my knee bent. I don't even know how I was like actually standing up at that moment in time. And he's like, "Think about how often you stand like that every day at work, you know, and you're just ruining your body, you're ruining your structure, and just kind of like building up that awareness throughout time, and just having an awareness of your body is so important, whether it's just a mental awareness or like a physical awareness. It's just going to help, actually, you will make better life choices because of it."
All right, guys, well, that's today's episode. Come join us for your first year of CrossFit and stick with it for the whole year, at least those first 90 days, as Tony pointed out. That's really the time you need to give yourself to see if it's going to work for you. We'll see you soon.